Good morning, everyone. It's September the 10th, 2023. As you can see, I've given you a short to watch prior to my broadcasting this one today about the changing seasons is what I want to talk about, in the fact that the homeless change with the seasons, just as we all do change with the seasons. For example, now that summer's over, they're turning around, they're coming in closer and to where we are living and invading our territory more, where it's kind of like, let's say you have the school kids. Again, last day of school, what do? Throw up the school books, and they're all joyful and happy that they've got some freedom. They don't have to look at school books. They don't have to worry about homework for the summer. Well, that's kind of what we've seen over the summer months and the warm weather. And that is that the homeless, they go out, do what they want to do. They spread out, sometimes over the city, sometimes over, in our case in Lower Town, we're seeing them all over the place. And as I said, when they get chased out, oftentimes the tents will be spotted even around the city. And we have a big city, so there's other spots that they can actually take their tents and hide. But they don't have to stay in the unsafe shelters, as they put it. They don't like it, where they get beaten up, hurt. Even some, not all the staff, but there are some staff that are bad in there as well, that I've addressed earlier in my early broadcasts that I've put out as well. So now we're seeing the change. Of course, Labor Day weekend really signals that, because the school kids are going back to their regular routine. So now that signals as well. Now we have the shorter days. We're getting the colder days are coming. So that's where Labor Day weekend comes in. And now we're starting to see some things happening that goes to that part of the season, which I want to explain to you what happens. Now, in my early videos, you will have seen where I've put up, we're in the hallways and the stairwells and that, where they shoot up, they come in, they sleep. Now they're going to be looking for warmer places to sleep. So that puts the tenants down here in our buildings, our apartment buildings, at risk for the homeless coming in and trying to literally take over. In some cases, this is what they're looking for. One of our building is one of the targets down here, and this is why I do have some pictures to show you, which I've shown you in the past. Around Labor Day now, we've started seeing some of the telltale signs that they're trying to get back in the buildings. And I'm going to give you a little brief update on what that is and what it sort of looks like. Okay, so we've had the dealers come in here. This is, they can't just go out. And during the summertime, it's easy. In one case, I remember one of the dealers was seen on a bicycle, just taking his taking the drugs around to his clients. And it was very easy for them to get around, for the dealers. But now the dealers and the druggies now all want to come in. They want to shoot up where it's nice and warm. So this is putting more pressure on right now. So some of the some of the signs of this are very distinctive in this. You will notice people, strange people, sometimes hanging around the building. Now, since Labor Day weekend comes at the sort of the end of the month, it's also a good time for them to start hunting out their territory, if you want to put it that way, where they see people coming up. All of a sudden, people are moving out and moving in at the beginning and the end of the month. So even tenants can't always tell, okay, if that's is a tenant moving out, or is this just a new tenant moving in, perhaps, because it's easy for them to slip in and say, oh, I'm just a new tenant, I've just misplaced my key, or I've forgotten upstairs, can you let me in? So they'll come up with some what seems to be a credible excuse. Other times you'll see, like we've seen a couple of now coming back in to sleep at night, that we've had to call security about as well. Again, this is just one of the tall tale signs, and you get people that deliberately let them in the building. Sometimes other people, in an extreme case, I can tell you of one extreme case where I had a friend come in. She was just rang my buzzer, and what happened was she was what the police call swarming. She was swarmed by 6 people, and they all started yelling at her. So I accidentally let her in. I just barely heard a male voice, but by then I'd pushed the buzzer and let her in. So they just piled in after her. This is another method that they like to get into the building, and we assumed that they were going to one of the dealers' apartments that we knew at that point in time. So that was not a good thing. So that's one sign. Sometimes it's just one person that'll come in, or 2 people that'll come in wanting to get in to get their drugs. But it's another part of it is it's about these home invasions and apartment takeovers that can happen. This happens very easily. We've seen it in the past. We're aware of it, where they'll take someone who is mentally challenged, one of our tenants who is mentally challenged, and they will become friends with them, and then worm their way into his apartment eventually, and then they will start dealing, and then we've got problems for months afterwards. So it's very difficult to get this person out. Now we've just got this person out, and we're again seeing the signs of this happening again. So it's important you be aware of this sort of thing. If you are a tenant in a high-risk area such as we are, there are steps that you can take. You can see the signs. I'm going to try even off and on my videos. If something else comes up, I may tell you directly that that's a sign. But what tenants can do is they can, if they suspect anything that's unusual, a lot of activity, for example, a lot of people coming in and out of an apartment, and that person is normally very, very quiet, has never really caused any trouble before, and all of a sudden there's heavy traffic of people coming and going from that apartment. So that's one way of telling them about it. To protect yourself, you can call your landlord. That's really good. We can call our landlord if we need to. Another way of protecting yourself is that a lot of there's several long-term tenants in my building too. We've kind of formed our own little tiny security committee, and it also includes the immigrants. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the immigrants too, because the immigrants who've come in, most of the older ones, are only interested in working and having a decent life. It's their children that are getting dragged into this drug world. So this is a big problem on them. So they're shocked too. So I have older people, immigrants, that I get along very, very well with. We all agree on the same thing. So we have a lot in common. We greet each other very formally, courteously. Good morning, how's it going? The weather's great, blah, blah, blah. But we also know we have to protect each other. So this is one way of getting along with your neighbors. So we've got our own little security committee that we formed within the building, where one person, if they see something, will notify another person. And and we back each other up if we have to call a landlord. And so this is one way of protecting yourself against some of these home invasions. Because when they come in, they take over. It's just throwing the whole entire building upside down as well. And they will do anything. And these people who are addicted, if it's handy and convenient, they will turn around and they want the drugs out of a certain apartment. You'll notice that apartment window, they'll just, throw a rock through the window. So smashed windows, boarded up windows. This is another sign. And it's continuous. And so it's very difficult. And especially when you're trying to get in and out of your own building and they're swarming you, or as soon as you open the door, they just all of a sudden come up behind you and startle you, and they follow you right into the building, even if you don't want to let them in. And sometimes they'll even argue with you. So this is some of the things that we're now on the lookout for. I just wanted to give you an update of what was going on. So this is now that time of the year where it's fall, it's cold. They now have to change their methods again. So please be aware, please be safe, and again, take care. And I will be updating you again. And if anything else comes up and I can think of anything else for your own safety, I will be putting it up for sure. But I can say another thing. Sometimes you can directly call the police if you think some apartment's been taken over or something has happened here, to let them know as well. So that's another route. And it's one of the wonderful things about working with the immigrants is I found out how sensible a lot of them are, because they want the same things that most of us want. And especially as baby boomers, we grew up. The World War II gave us a chance to have that peace. Now we don't have that peace, and our young people are under attack right now, being taken away. So we need to be the old guard coming back and helping to look after our society. That's one way we can. So again, have a nice day. Be safe, be careful, and always be aware of your surroundings, okay? And take care, and bye-bye.